Es wird gefährlich. Raus hier.
Baby, come get me.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another round of Young 78 game reviews. Today we're going to be looking at Gotoku 4, aka Yakuza Kenzan as known in the West. This game was released in Japan nearly 8 months ago and it's going to be released next year of March 2011. Today we're going to be focusing mostly on the story elements of the game, particularly the first chapter of the game, just to give you an idea of what to expect further on down the road. We're going to be looking a bit into the graphics and into the gameplay mechanics as well. Please sit back and enjoy the rest of this review. Hey everybody, welcome to the story portion of this review. In this section we're going to be focusing on the first chapter of the game, just to give you an idea of where the game takes off. And one of the things I want to tell you right away is that this is completely different from the other Yakuza games, in that you start off with 3 new characters, opposed to just using your character Kiryu. So in the beginning of the game you start off with a character called Akiyama, which is kind of a lazy / carefree guy who runs a company called Sky Finance. And he's hounded by his secretary in the very beginning to please go and start collecting money. Now this company essentially loans money to people who can't get loans from anywhere else. And this is where the story takes off. He ends up going to a guy named Takeshi's house. Now Takeshi, he's looking for Takeshi's father, who is the mob boss of that particular region of Kodomucho. Now Takeshi tells Akiyama that his father is not there, and at the same time Takeshi's getting on the case of one of his subordinates. You know, he's pretty much calling his subordinate, you fucking idiot this, you fucking idiot that, because of a prior issue having to do with somebody at a bar, another gang, another group. Anyway, Akiyama goes out to meet some of his old pals, his street friends in other words, and at the same time while he's getting to know his street friends, or just, you know, reminiscing, he sees a man named Arai talking over the phone, and Arai tells the person on the phone basically he's going to be at this particular bar, this hostess bar, and Akiyama takes it upon himself to go to that bar because of you know, he knows the person, he knows the boss that's there. So he does go there, and he sees the boss guy there that he was intending to find, and he just gives him all kinds of shit. Now, I don't know the boss guy's name, I can't remember from the top of my head, but his subordinate, you know, doesn't like what he's saying to his boss, so he gets in Akiyama's face, and as you can just see, as you just saw, he knocked him out flat. Now, one thing leads to another, and Akiyama and the boss guy, you know, duke it out, and obviously Akiyama floors the guy. And afterwards, you know, Takeshi and Arai arrive, and Arai, you know, he tells Takeshi to calm down. He tells Akiyama what's going on here, and Akiyama says to him, "Oh, this is my own business." Anyway, one thing leads to another. The guy gets back up, the boss guy gets back up, and he points a gun at Arai, and Alai's like, "Hey, calm down, calm down, calm down." And he says, "If you're gonna shoot me, I'm gonna shoot you back." So he walks up to the guy to grab the gun, you know, just to calm things down. Anyway, the guy shoots him, and you know, duh. And Takeshi runs up, and he's like, "Are you okay, man?" Of course he's not, you fucking idiot. One thing leads to another. Arai follows the guy who just shot him, and then he shoots the guy back in the head. And you know, it's really complicated. It gets much more complicated from here. But basically, a third character is introduced into the game, or your second new character is introduced to the game. This guy's called Tonomoru, and he's kind of a detective / cop, and he basically walks up to the dead guy, you know, past Akiyama, as Arai moves away. You know, how did he get there so quickly? No one knows. And he just starts looking at the dead body, and he's like, man's been shot in the head. No chance of survival, of course not. And that's essentially where your story kicks off. If you want to know more, you're gonna have to play the game. Hi everyone, welcome to the gameplay portion of this review where we're going to be focusing on graphics and a bit of gameplay. Now, graphically speaking, a lot of this game is the same as Yakuza 3 and Kensen, so not much has been improved upon in terms of the graphics, but the overall look of the game is phenomenal, so you're not really going to care anyway. Some of the differences I can say is there's less popping, there's the uses of weather effects are amazing in this game, particularly in the rain, and you'll find that reflections are used a lot more than compared to Part 3. You know, in terms of Konocho, it's a lot bigger than before. In other words, you can travel on the rooftops, you can travel in more buildings, you're able to go to underground markets this time around, which is fairly new. A lot of things have been brought back for the gameplay in terms of, you know, being able to dine out in the restaurants, as you can see in this particular scene here. You know, I'm just going to get some ice cream. Bowling's been brought back, which is my personal favorite part of the game. That and the baseball portion, which is going to come up next. But the bowling portion, I spent many hours trying to make strikes. As you can see here, I had one successful one. And the bowling portion is very, very fun. Now, for the baseball section, it's essentially the same thing you had in Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, believe it or not, Kensen, and Part 4. Now, it's still as fun as it has always been. Now, there's this other game, I think it's kind of a pachinko game, and I'm not really sure what it is, but it had the virtual characters on it, so it caught my attention. And it's kind of fun, but it was difficult for me to play. Now, this one game here, most of you are familiar with from Yakuza 3, has been brought back for Yakuza 4, and it's not been changed too much. It's, you know, many levels have been added to it, and some of the same have been added to it, so it's still very fun to play. You can still go to the strip club bars and watch the ladies dance, which for me is just very fun. But obviously, for the real thing over the digital thing, but still to be able to do the digital world is a great thing. The karaoke scenes have been brought back from Part 3, which for me is my personal favorite. If you own the Japanese version, it's great practice for characters and stuff. If you're waiting for the US version, you're going to be stuck reading the, you know, basically the basic English version of the Japanese characters. Now, this particular scene right here, this particular game, you're trying to entice this girl to like you more. I can't really explain how the game worked, but it was pretty fun when I got to that portion of the game. Now, this particular girl, she is very popular in Japan also, but I don't remember her name. Now, for Part 4, for the American release, the hostess bars are going to be brought back with a bit of a surprise, which is that you can this time modify or customize your women. And most of you are familiar with the hostess bars from Part 1, Part 2, and you know, all of us were pissed off when they were taken out of Part 3. So we're all quite happy to know that they're coming back for Part 4. Now, my personal favorite portion of this game is obviously the action portion, which I said in my last review for Kensen. It's a mix between GT, it's a mix between Streets of Rage 2, I would say, and Shenmue. You know, you put all these elements together and you get one fucking great game in terms of fighting. You know, the heat moves, all that stuff's been brought back. Now, I didn't get far enough in the game to get a lot of the heat moves for you, so I'm showing you more or less many of the basics. One of my personal favorite things when I was playing the game was I realized, hey, you can throw people off the roofs. And so, you know, I tried it and I did it and I was like, yeah, fuck yeah. Okay, another great thing about this particular game that a lot of you don't know about, or a lot of you do know about from the original game, is the chase scenes. Now, the chase scenes have been brought back for this, and they're just as fun as the original. Now, that pretty much sums up everything I can say about this game in terms of gameplay and in terms of graphics. So, hope you guys enjoyed. Stay tuned for the next portion of the review. Hey everyone, welcome to the last part of this review where essentially I'm going to let you know whether you should import it or leave it alone. Now, if you're living abroad like me, you pretty much already own this game, especially if you're looking at this preview. But if you live in the States, I will say it just like this. Don't import it, just wait a couple more months. The US release is going to come out and you won't have that language barrier in terms of, you know, subtitles. If you want to listen to this game in English, forget about it. It's not going to be translated. But what I can say for those of you who are purists, you'll be happy to know that about 95 to 90% of the content from the Japanese version is going to be, you know, is going to be shipped over to the US version or the US release of this game. You're going to be missing a few of the minuscule games. I'm thinking a couple of the Pinchico games might not be there, or the Go games might not be there, but the Hostess bars are going to be back, which were cut out from the original, and quite a few other games are going to be back, which were cut out from the original. So for all of you waiting for this game, look forward to it, enjoy it when it does come out. Please don't waste your time importing it unless you're a purist. I hope you all enjoyed this review, gave me some positive and negative feedback. Thanks you guys, and see you all next time.